you have seen this, and I have seen the Sklar brothers, Randy and Jason, on Entourage, one of my favorite shows.
Oh, nice.
Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm just getting into it now because Richard Lewis is turning into a cool buddy. And ESPN, Comedy Central, Chelsea Lately, everything else. This weekend, see the world's most successful and possibly only, in fact, there's no doubt you've got to be the only twin brother comedy tag team performing in Bellevue this weekend.
That's right. And don't sleep on that distinction. We take that honor very highly.
It is an interesting thing. I can't wait to hear more about it.
Not since the Hager brothers.
Not exactly.
And there were three, so it really isn't a fair comparison.
I mean, to be honest, there are not a lot of teams traveling around the United States. It used to be all teams, like back in the 60s.
I'm going to ask about that. For tickets and showtimes, let me get the plug in.
Plug it.
You are going to want to see these guys, and you are going to want to get the tickets before they sell out. Go to parlorlive.com. And you can link to that from bobrivers.com if later on you're thinking, what was it again? Randy and Jason Sklar, welcome to Seattle and the Bob Rivers Show.
Thank you so much. This is an honor to be here. I know the tradition and your history here in Seattle, so it's nice to be on the show. I didn't mean to take you by surprise by giving you a compliment. You were just like, what? Wait a minute.
Let Bob quietly weep, Randy.
He is quietly weeping for his success.
What threw me is it sounded like you meant it. That's
I did. Well, you know.
No, we're taking an acting class.
Bob,
so
I am an actor, and I am able to convey empathy in ways that many people cannot, even early in the morning.
Yeah. All right, now you two, you're really brothers.
We are.
Yes.
We're really. It's not
CGI.
This
Bob.
is
not like brothers from a different mother.
No, we are flat out. We're twins. We're brothers.
Okay.
And
we're one zygote, Bob.
Who was born first?
Jay was.
I
born
was born first.
It's really you got to ask yourself, what is being born first? It's just you're closer to the door on the way out, basically, right? I mean, what is being born? I don't want to get into a whole Tim Tebow discussion here,
like
but
being on a jet. Who got to Pittsburgh?
That's right.
Yes.
Whose bags came off the plane?
I paid extra. I was in the exit row.
He got some extra leg room. It's so funny because now that each of us have kids. I mean, we have kids, but not together. That'd be weird. We actually, but we do have kids. So to think of us as kids, it's like I forgot about like all my life and before these kids just didn't exist.
Yeah.
Like people want to talk about us as kids. I'm like, wait a minute, was I ever a kid? I think I just was put on this earth to be my kids.
I've always been changing diapers. That's all I've been doing in this universe.
Right. When you were kids living together as brother and brother, were you a team in any way, shape, or form? Because a lot of brothers don't get along.
We did. We actually did really get along. We spent a lot of time together. It was just us. We were the only kids. We worked. I don't know. We kind of once we learned
the Catskills.
We worked the Catskills at age 8.
Chucky. Yeah. You're gonna love these boys.
You won't believe them.
Try the matzo ball soup. No, I think we really realized that as twins. I mean, the interesting thing is these days, the incidence of twins is it's much more frequent that there are twins because women are having babies later in their lives.
They're using fertility drugs to increase.
Right.
Not to throw stats. I mean, we're doing a new show that's coming out on the History Channel
called the United Stats of America, and so we're really into stats these days. And the stat is that like when we were born,
72, we were 1 in 89.
1 in 89 births were twins. Now it's like 1 in 33. So. The crazy thing is that back then, it was really rare that you would have twins. I think we were one of maybe 5 sets in our whole school of almost 2,000 people in high school and whatnot. So people were really like, well, this is interesting. And so you had attention. And then for us, we were like, well, what do we do with that attention? And we were huge fans of comedy since we were like 8 years old. And we would just do people's bits. And we were like, God, this is so much fun.
Who's comedian? Who's your favorite comedian?
We were huge fans of Seinfeld, like before his
the show. We were like, we knew his act backwards and forwards. The other people we loved Letterman as a comedian, like the Letterman from the NBC days and even the morning show. I mean, we were like, that was kind of in our realm, and we were like, what he's doing, he was making fun of comedy before other people were doing it. And so it's so funny because a really good friend of ours and someone who really got us sort of into the profession of comedy was Andy Kindler, who is just a fantastic comedian that was his thing. He would make fun of jokes that he would just say. I remember he told a joke about, this was one of his great jokes, like he was like a crock pot, a crock pot. If I'm hungry 17 hours from now. So that was like the joke there. But then he would.
He's like, where are the crackers? And he took his hand and he would like open up like a mime like cabinet. And
this is his joke on that. He was like 8 years of mime school and I still open the cabinet door into my face. That is so funny. And so we saw that and we're like, oh my God, you can make fun of your own jokes on stage. It's something you just said, and that opened up a whole new door.
Self-deprecating comedy.
Yeah,
self-deprecating comedy, self-referential comedy. comedy, and we do a little bit of that in our act. It's definitely in what we do, and it's just fun. For us, we like to turn comedy on its ear.
I saw some clips of you guys, and I got to say, there's certain things you do, like we like to make fun of our local television station.
Oh,
like they, for example, they have... Here, the big thing is weather. Because we're in the Pacific Northwest.
Really?
Sure.
Why would that be?
Well, it's funny. It's not like we get heavy snow or freezing cold. What we get is impossible to predict weather. You could just put up, mostly cloudy with a chance of rain 365 days a year, and you'd be more right than they
That's
actually
right.
are.
Right.
So
That's
they
right.
try and predict it.
What they do here is they have these fancy technology
Sure.
names. I don't know if is this all over the country?
Doppler radar, NexRad was one of them. Accu, everything like
well,
that.
Well, they've come up with a new one now.
What's the new one?
Double Doppler.
Double Doppler.
That sounds
double
like-
secret Doppler is next.
It is. It's like some weird thing. I mean, that was the thing for us that you sort of linked everybody together. It's like, especially in election year, everybody wants to think that like this country is divided. No, there's the one grand equalizer is the crappiness of local television news.
Oh, it's bad everywhere.
And
bring us together.
It really does.
Unifying factor.
Well, the biggest thing technologically around the country is the traffic helicopter, the eye in the sky.
Skycam.
Best one we ever saw was when we were living in New York City. News Channel 4's Chopper 4 because they had a multi-million-dollar ad campaign just for the helicopter.
Just for the helicopter.
Not for the news team, just for the traffic.
Not for the
helicopter.
person.
Not for the person.
And then in the last decade, this is true. Chopper 4 has gone down in the Hudson River twice.
Yeah, nobody was hurt.
No one was hurt, but they still ran the commercial like the next day.
The next
for the
day.
helicopter.
Yeah,
And honestly, if the promo was 5 seconds long, like, hey, we have a helicopter, that'd be enough. But no, I swear to God, we timed it 2 minutes long.
2
Eye in the
minutes.
sky, big voice, eye in the sky.
That's
That's
it.
right.
Oh,
So after
yeah.
the first minute, though, they just ran out of things to say about it. 'cause
That
it's
was our
just a
favorite part.
helicopter.
To see them stretching was our favorite
The
part.
second minute, all they did was try to make standard helicopter features sound like technological breakthroughs.
They were like, Chopper 4.
with airborne capabilities,
Chopper 4.
with a self-propelling propeller,
Chopper 4.
with seats.
Seats.
Come on, seats.
Yeah,
Seriously.
we want to hear this phrase. We really wanted to hear them come up with this. They'd be like, Chopper 4, we open fired on Channel 7's Wussy News van. And Chopper 4 was the first on the scene to bring the bloody photos. Chopper 4.
Chopper 4 went down mysteriously in the Hudson River, and Chopper 4 was the first on the scene. Coincidence?
Oh, Chopper 4. From now on, the entire news broadcast will be brought to you from directly inside of Chopper 4. News,
Chopper 4,
sports,
Chopper 4,
weather,
Chopper 4.
traffic.
Traffic, weirdly enough, will now be done from the studio.
But for everything else, it's Chopper 4. Who's your news source? Chopper 4.
Before you guys came in here, we were talking about texting. We were talking about Twitter. We were talking about, Demi Moore's getting a divorce.
I know. You find
They're
out
getting
about it.
divorced on Twitter, which I think is really
and the
sweet.
press release can't be more than 144.
It can't be. You got to keep
That's
it.
right.
No, they want to keep it to 130 because they want it RT'd.
They want to
won't do
retweet it.
it.
You
But
guys do. You have to tweet these.
We do. We're
I
at-
actually think it's the comedian's best friend to Twitter for us because we use it for jokes. We're like, let's
We're at Sklar Brothers,
Well,
but
now, some comics do. I've noticed that some actually joke and give you material, and some just say, "I'm at Chuckles tonight." I'm
Yeah,
here.
well, I mean, you got to promote on there to let people know where you're going to be.
But
I
you
mean,
gotta
but
do
we
both, don't
you? You gotta
we
do both.
got to do both. Like we tried to be like, hey, we're coming up to Seattle this weekend where we're going to make it rain. And that was
try to add a joke to the thing.
add a joke to the thing.
Now,
So-
do you guys have one handle? You
We
don't
do
have
at Sklar Brothers.
SKLAR
I'm gonna start
Brothers.
following.
Yeah,
Follow
start
us.
following us.
But it's great, and sometimes it's wonderful. It's gotten us a lot of new fans, but sometimes it can bite you in the ass when you're like sitting out there watching, you're constantly trying to figure out what's the tweet.
You see something interesting, you're like, what's the tweet in that? We were at the airport about to fly somewhere, and we saw this group of women, a gaggle of women who were like going to Vegas.
Clearly like a bachelorette party.
And they just needed it. They needed
like
this
you
thing.
could just feel from them the desperation. They
It was
needed
like,
this weekend to be
needed
awesome.
Something huge. And
Make
like,
up for all the mistakes that they had made in their lives.
so we're staring at them, and I'm thinking, what's the tweet?
What
How
is
can
the
I
tweet?
boil this situation down
How
into
can we-
138 characters?
How
so I
can we
get-
make their sadness into one tweetable bite?
And they caught us. They busted us looking
They
at
turned
them.
around and looked at us.
And they looked at us like we were the obstacle to their wonderful weekend. Like we were the thing they had.
Like we were in the movie that was their lives. We were the villains that they had to
We were the
overcome.
get him a body bag. That was us. So like they had to overcome us, and they looked back at us like, and
they were like taunting us.
you can't stop
You
us.
can't stop
You
us.
can't
Just
stop us.
try and
I want
stop
you to
us.
try and stop us.
We were like, we don't want to stop you.
No, you better try and stop us.
I want you to
just-
want to.
just so we can then dash your dreams.
We can make you not do it.
And the best is like in a situation like that, there's always the one person who's getting married, and then the one friend who's nowhere near getting
That is
married.
the worst part.
The
for a group of girls, you think about The Bachelorette, when the second to last one is getting married, and then the last one's not even close.
The weak link.
It's the weak link, and that person is like always trying to defend the other person, but in defending her, putting her down
because she's so resentful that she's going to be alone.
To us, she'd be like, "You can't. This is her weekend.
She needs this
weekend. She's been drunk since Tuesday. We don't need to know that. You can't stop. She doesn't love her husband. She's settling for her husband.
Whoa, come on.
They sleep in separate beds.
Why do I need to know that?
She can't have a baby.
Come on.
She's going to die in 6 months. Stop.
She doesn't even know that.
Stop.
She doesn't even know that.
I'm trying to defend her.
What did you tweet? What did you tweet? I gotta know.
Oh God, I don't know. I can't even remember.
I think you said tramp stamps and bachelorette parties go together like fake tans and like 6-month marriages or something. I forgot, something like that.
Do you guys ever go out with each other with the wives?
We do.
Yeah.
Do the wives just sit there and exchange knowing looks, or do they actually contribute?
They know. My wife is pretty silly and funny, and you know, I mean,
what's crazy that we spend so much time together, and Randy and I on the road and doing our stuff, so that when we come home, we actually like take a break from each other.
It allows us to kind of then come back together and work.
I have someone who completes my sentences, but I leave her at home.
That's right. Well, there are times where I've said to my wife, like, we got somebody a birthday present for something, and she was like, "Oh, we did," and I was like, "Oh, no, that's me and Randy. We not you and me. We."
You got to define.
Let me define the we first before we start
the pronouns.
Here in Seattle, you've been here before.
Yeah, we did Bumbershoot a couple times, and we performed in McCall Hall.
You've been in the city, and you're going to be in Bellevue. You'll be a little closer to Linwood. You might see some mullets there, and I understand you guys.
We saw the most amazing mullet ever recently. It was glorious.
I would argue that it had magical powers.
It was like the human manifestation of a unicorn, because you saw it really quickly, and you're like, Was that a?
Did I see a?
No, this thing was so nice. I mean, it
was unironic. That was
why it was not an ironic mullet. I mean, the thing about it was it made us think there should be a mullet Hall of Fame in the United States of America.
Yes,
it should be inside of a Supercuts.
I actually think this is what I think. I think it should be right behind a Supercuts. So literally, it's a business in the front and a party in the back.
Put the party rooms in the back. Put the party rooms in the back.
There it
Thank
is.
you. We got a little bell on that one.
Yes.
Very awesome. Sklar Brothers, folks, Randy and Jason, you've seen them on Entourage, Curb Your Enthusiasm. They have a podcast called Scarborough Country. What we're going to do is we're going to put all of these links and everything that lets you find them this weekend at the Parlor Live on our website,
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. It's really nice to meet you.
Great to meet you, too.
Thanks,
the greatest hits of